If my class is at 8 o'clock, I can wake up at 7:59 and get on class. In my boxes.
Oh, that's one thing, I never show others. Yeah.
Because they are the only ones who do not tell you to study when you're taking breaks. So.
I was such a bad student. I got two teachers left the school because of me.
Hi, Emmanuel. Thank you all for coming.
Hello.
Would you like to introduce yourselves? Your name, what you're currently doing?
Well, I'm Jason. I'm a professor of mechanical engineering. I work in St. Gates College of Engineering, Kottayam.
I'm Aaron. I'm a first year in VIT and I'm doing EC right now.
Hey, I'm Kiran and I currently study a course called ACCA.
I'm Meera, and right now I'm a homemaker.
I'm Jeff, and I just finished the 11th grade.
I'm Sneha, I'm in 10th. Hi, I'm Ansu. We're basically here to just talk about exams, the stress and anxiety that comes together with it. Would you say if your parents initiate a conversation to you about, all this, about exams, anxiety, stress and everything, would you be comfortable talking to them?
Not so much actually.
Really?
Yeah.
What about you guys? No? Jeff?
I would be honest with them, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, but I would be fine with it.
Yeah. Do you have such conversations with your parents?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, rarely.
Rarely? Okay. You don't? Yeah. No. I think no. Okay. So, we usually don't talk a lot about exams and stress and anxiety that comes together with it, with our parents and with our teachers. We do it with our friends, maybe with people our age, but it doesn't really happen between our parents and the children, right? So what we want to do over here is to just understand the other side better, because everyone is going through something or the other at that point, and they're also stressed for their children, their teachers are stressed for their students, kids are stressed with their exams in itself. So we want to understand the other side better, we want to see their perspectives and their thoughts. So let's talk about exam stress, anxiety, and yeah, everything that comes together with it. We'll start with this question. We'll start with just understanding how stressed we are as people with exams and anxiety. So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being stress-free and 10 being extremely stressed, where would you rate yourself? Let's close our eyes, let's show it with our hands, so that we'll also see that once we open our eyes, we can have a look at each other. Okay? So let's close our eyes. And yeah, you can show with your hands. Open your eyes. Okay.
Nice.
Okay, I think we have almost monthly.
You didn't put up your hands.
I did. You didn't. I'm not a very stressed person. I do have that, I think, a good amount of stress so that I can do my work.
Yeah.
But I'm not very stressed about exams at all. Do you want to say why you said 6?
Yeah, when I was studying in school and college, I did go through stress because that generation, I think, marks and were counted much, and especially what relatives would say. And comparison with cousins, because we had so many cousins. So that's why I said 6.
You were very stress-free as a student. But as a teacher, as a professor, do you think you're more stressed?
I gave you a count of 2 for my stress while I was a student. I think I'm stressed manyfold as a teacher, stressed for my students.
I think a lot of people will have some reactions when they are stressed, right? Maybe some people will have breathlessness, some people will lose sleep at night. Is there any such reactions that you guys have normally, if you're stressed at all?
Sometimes I catch a cold.
What else?
Yeah, once before this 12th math exam, I vomited because of the stress.
When you're in the school?
No. I just woke up and oh no, math exam. And vomited 12.
So maths is your hardest or
It's not my hardest, it's just the thing that I'm most nervous about. Because you either know it or you don't know it.
So, is there any coping strategies or mechanisms that you use? You do certain activities and you feel, okay, maybe if I do this now, I'll get relieved a bit of my stress. I can be free for some time. Is there anything that you use when you are stressed?
I mean, you can try taking ample breaks. Like I used to take a lot of breaks where I used to talk with my parents or just with my friends, so that like it just takes it, it takes a stress off your head for a bit. You can just share it with them also if you want.
Actually, my son used to go for playing. He used to go and play basketball or something just before the exams.
Anyone else? What would you do when you're stressed? Is there any coping mechanism you have?
Yeah, I think we can spend time if we have pets because they are the only ones who do not tell you to study when you're taking a break. So
That's a good idea.
I just take like nice deep breaths before the exam.
Yeah.
Calm.
I listen to music and fall asleep.
yeah, so I used to call my friends. So basically, I don't tell my problems. Like if I'm tense, I don't say that I'm tense. But then I called my friend, and then I'll ask like, how are you doing? How's your school going? And then when you talk for like an hour, you're actually relieved, even though you're not sharing your problems. So even though you don't want to share your problems with your friends, I think it is necessary to call your friend once.
Also, I think it's important not to think about problems that are not in your control. So, like, what questions are going to come in the exam, or like what am I going to do after that. So all that is just going to add to your burdens, and you don't want to be doing that during, while you're studying for exams and stuff.
So, do you have any interests or any hobbies that you do? And if there are any interests that you spend your time on, how do you manage time between your studies and between your interests?
To be honest, I waste a lot of time in my hobbies. Like for example, I'm a lot into like music production and stuff. So if I start on a project, I like continuously go on. I mean, I just go with it for like 8 hours. Like I lose track of time also. So it gets kind of hard, like managing studies with it. But I do that like once in a while. So.
No, I feel like hobbies and things which are sports that you play. I think there should not be a stress where you do all your schoolwork and then you go and play. I think there should be a balance. And I can recall that I used to play basketball and I used to play like till 8 p.m. at night, and it was just dark everywhere. So the thing is, your interests you should not go to that extreme where you're just playing and you just want to concentrate on playing. But I think if you properly allocate your time for playing your hobbies and your studies, and not putting one over the other. It doesn't mean that you study and finish everything and then you go and play. And not the other way around where you're playing all the time and then you don't study.
Oh yeah, I play the guitar. So I spend a lot of time on the guitar and forget to study. Like music production, I lose track of time playing the guitar. Love playing it. So one thing I did was I timed myself. Like before I started playing guitar, I just timed myself, and then I forget about it. And then after I check how long I spent on this. And then I also check how long I studied. Probably studied for half an hour and played through guitar for 2 hours. And then I slowly started reducing the time and managing the time, not reducing the time, managing the time I spend for both. So that helps.
Yeah, I think in my case, what I used to do is I used to keep reinforcements for myself. I say, okay, if I study for this time, maybe I can go out and do this, or I can spend some time with doing something that I love. And I would keep that in mind, and I would just focus on studying for a period of time. And I was never a person who used to spend a lot of time on studying. So I just focus during the time that I study. I just focus on my studies, and then after that, I would feel that I'm free now to do whatever I want. So yeah. And now let's have a yes or no question. If it's yes, it's more of a statement. So if your answer to the statement is yes, you can just raise your hand. The statement is, I have enjoyed Zoom classes more than regular classes. Okay, this is one yes. So all of you, your answers are no?
As a teacher, not as a student. During my student days, there was no Zoom. So.
Yeah, as a teacher. As a parent, what do you think?
Not really. Because my eldest son is more of people person. Zoom cameras off, he feels very dull and down. So he went a little back in studies. So that little tough it was. So I think offline schools are I prefer where they can interact.
Kiran, you said yes.
Yes.
Is there any confessions you want to make? Any crazy things that you do?
No, see, I don't have any confessions to make. The thing is, see, first let me say that, offline is definitely better than online. But the thing is, if my class is at 8 o'clock, I can wake up at 7:59 and get out class. Yeah. In my boxes.
routine when for a class.
I just got so used to it. And then also, because you go to school, you go to a new place, because I just graduated, right? So I got to go to a new place, get to know people. This way I don't have to socialize with people. I don't have to spend the time. I mean, I would like to, but then it's a little effort that I have to put in. So I have to do that. And yeah, that's about it. I focused when I was, sitting in front of the Zoom class. I focused what the teacher was saying. I wasn't slacking off.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit, but then I was focused.
What I liked about this, I was very paranoid, like when you do an online class, how am I going to teach them to do problems and how these things can be done. I found out that everything that you're doing in the classroom can be done very effectively on an online platform. So that's why I think I said that I enjoyed Zoom classes.
From a convenience point of view, I think it's better, but then for me personally, my productivity wasn't as high as when I was in the physical class.
You can laze around. You can
Yeah.
What do you think about Zoom classes?
I don't enjoy it because, like many people here, I'm a people's person. I like interactions. That's how I work. I won't work if I'm in front of a laptop.
Yeah, Zoom classes has pulled me back from my studies. I mean, I'm a person who gets distracted very fast. So I think offline classes were better.
Actually, as a parent, I advise my children, like Zoom classes we're discussing, sometimes they don't switch on the camera and all. So, see, teachers are putting in so much of effort. Honor them. Do your bit. They're not asking you much. Just do your bit.
But how do you feel as a professor? You're looking at blank screens. You don't see many cameras on. How do you feel?
I have something on that too. I don't insist because I tell my students straight away, my job is teaching you and it's not policing, because sometimes we think that just in the classroom, when they come to the classroom, just because they are physically present there, we think their attendance is, 100%. You're sitting there, but your mind is elsewhere. So attendance is not just your physical presence, and if we are on Zoom or any other online platform, it is not about you're showing your face there.
If our teachers' cameras were not on, how would you?
I mean, in college, the teachers have the camera off, so it feels weird,
It feels like,
I mean,
but it would be different for you guys. And you guys would have.
I wouldn't feel like studying if I see the teacher not putting any effort. And I feel bad now that I think about it, because how would the teachers can't teach properly. Like, they want full attentiveness and they want to have a feeling of teaching, but they won't when our cameras are off. So now that I think about it, I should probably turn on my camera.
Your professors.
And they don't ask us to turn on the camera also.
Oh, that's a good point.
Also, I remember a student turned on his camera during in the beginning, when first started college, and then he was like, why you showing your house? We don't want to see anything,
It's very chill, huh?
Yeah.
But does that give you the incentive to be free and maybe not focus?
I mean, you can go that way, but then I think if you're responsible enough, and also I feel in college, right, the whole idea of getting marks is I think it's removed now. For me at least, I don't feel the pressure to perform and get marks. So for now, it's for me it's just gaining knowledge. So it's a lot more relaxed. So I feel paying attention also in class. It also helps me while studying for exams and all.
It's usually when we are in 10th and 12th. That's usually the time when people all around us, they come to you and they start stressing about your exams, your marks, and what you're going to do, your future plans and everything. So it's actually a big muddle with everyone. Your relatives coming, your friends coming, your parents asking, are you sure you want to do this? So is there anything, someone said something to you which you found very helpful and which actually helped you in better relieving your stress and focusing on your studies? Is there anything of such statements that you have heard?
So when I'm preparing for exams, especially my dad, he used to come and he used to say, just study like do your job, like, and then don't worry about the marks. So when I found out like that my parents are like not as stressed about the exams because they see that I'm working hard and all, even I feel like a load is gone off my head. You know, like I don't have to like impress my parents with my marks or anything. They know I'm working hard and they know that, you know, because I'm working hard that I'll get good results. So I had that confidence. So I think I wasn't as stressed because of that.
I have a similar answer. Whenever boards come or main exams come, my dad used to tell me it's not about marks, it's about what you learn. So just give it your best. It's the effort that I put in, and he said it's definitely not about marks. It's the experience you get from the study.
Was there something unhelpful? So the expectations are very high. Was there something unhelpful that you heard from someone that actually kind of put you in stress a bit more than usual? Any of you had?
Yeah. See, you're sitting in the exam hall, okay? See, you're ready to write the exam, like 15 minutes before the exam, like calm mind, when you peaceful, taking deep breaths. And then suddenly the guy behind you taps your shoulder. Okay? And then he says, "Hey, tune chapter 15 pada?" Integration aayega. And then you're like, "Oh no, I didn't study chapter 15. Stress." And then when I write the exam, the ones I know won't come.
Yeah.
I just forget. And integration will come. Means that 3 or 4% will be there. You don't know how to answer it. Oh god.
I think all of us has been in such a situation. When you're suddenly reminded of that one portion, and if it comes in the exam hall, you're like, okay, yeah, he told that to me, and now it is here. You get stressed. You don't even know what to do at that time.
Then you forget the things that you learned.
Yeah.
Because you're tense at that point. Was there any instance when you were stressed because of something someone said?
My mom, her main focus is marks.
Getting to you all, graduates, students, do you have any tips for your parents? Anything that you want to tell them that will make sure that kids don't get stressed, that will help you also?
I mean, I feel like for parents to create a stress-free environment, I feel like they should be stress-free first. So they should not show that much stress, even though they have stress and then they're concerned about the child and all. They should not show it, because the child sees the stress and then he thinks maybe I'm not being stressed enough, or this is a big deal maybe for us. So I feel like if they are a little bit laid back with it, I think it helps a bit.
Yeah, another point would be I don't want parents to compare anyone. There are friends who study a lot more than me. So what they think is, when they compare somebody else with me, I'll be more competitive. But that's not the case. I want someone to support me, to say that you have your own talents, focus on that. It's not just about studies.
That's why she said, my mom was very supportive throughout my exam times. I mean, she used to tell me the importance of the future. She's lived long, she knows what's ahead. So she told me this is what's gonna happen, you're gonna have a lot of choices. And then if you want a good future, then you gotta work for it, right? So she used to tell me the importance of what is about to come, and then let me decide what I have to do. Do you want to study? Study hard. If you don't, you will face the consequences in the future.
Renke, I just want to add one more thing. Of course, we should not compare with other children. I have my son, I have my sister's son, so I avoid getting comparisons or avoid anybody, even my relatives, to compare. So I always tell my children, there should be a benchmark. So that is yourself. How you did before, do it better. Keep yourself as your benchmark, what you did. So somewhere, you have something to look forward and move on. Because without a vision or without a goal, it's difficult. So there should be something which you have to keep. I personally feel. But I don't know,
I just think competing with ourselves is
If you're not performing your best, then parents should sit you down, like I said.
As a professor, from your observation, what are the common pitfalls that students fall into that make them more stressed?
As we said, our spending our time between our hobbies and our studies, if you are able to at least put minimum effort on a daily basis, and if you distribute learning throughout the semester, then you will be well prepared in the sense. So what I used to do when on the day of the exam, or when I am given I remember one particular one when I was doing something on It was on fluid mechanics, which was not my subject, like a computational aerodynamics or something. And then my area of specialization was structures. So I had to take this class, and then I remembered many of the things. There are a lot of things which I don't know. So what I did was, early enough, I would go and learn those things which I don't know, and there are things which I know that I can revise at the end. So the key here is, if you have not studied something and you know that something is required of you, make sure that you are prepared for that. You spend some time earlier. You can take time and learn that. On the day before the exam, it is absolutely difficult. Do you think that you can learn all this in a day? It doesn't happen. About 5 or 6 modules of so much stuff. It is not something which you can, unless you have photographic memory and then it's only about reproducing, what you have seen. That is a different thing, Many students get by, by doing that. But unless you work out these problems, especially in engineering or something where you're doing some computational thing, you have to be prepared, and it takes some time to solve 1 or 2 problems, and then you are good to go. So that is one of the pitfalls which I find, lack of preparation and lack of using proper, timing your studies properly throughout the course of study, rather than thinking that you can enjoy your time, watch movies, play, do all kinds of stuff that you want during the entire course of study, and then just
something I face is up until 10th, right? Up until 10th, if you study like the day before exam, you'll pass because it's easier.
Passing, yeah. If you're an average student, you can pass.
Yeah, you can pass.
Our exams are not that difficult, to pass.
But then you get to a professional level course like engineering or the course that I do, ACCA. Studying the day before exam won't make you pass. You got to study like 3 months in advance, every day systematically. So that's something you got to keep in mind as you go higher.
So, is there normally a period when you actually start studying for your boards? I mean, I think all of you are either preparing for your boards or have already done your boards. So, when did you actually start preparing for your boards?
I started earlier, to be honest. I started like, board was March, I started February. Which is good for a student. Which is good. February hardcore study, not just chumma going through the...
I was thinking I started early. Exam is in March. I started in June.
No, I actually studied like through the night till 2, 3.
Oh.
I actually studied.
Okay.
So that's there.
What about you,
I mean, school, I was actually going through topics pretty well. I was covering in I even had I was going for external coaching and all also. So I was pretty thorough with the concepts. So I didn't have to work that hard during my final exams. So it's pretty chill for me.
As you are still in school and at the crux of it, how do you manage that? You were starting 12th.
Yeah.
So have you set yourself any expectations, or not expectations, but then any regulations, something that you want to do this year?
I'm just focusing on the subjects that I have aimed on for the future. So I have subjects like English, which I really don't need at this point, and I have subjects like business studies, which that's my main focus in my school years, because I'm going for business in the future, and my main target should be business. I wouldn't go for English. My main subject wouldn't be English if I'm going for business. So I just focus on the subject which I would need for the future.
That's nice. So you're in 10th. Have you started thinking about maybe your 11th and 12th? What do you want to pursue?
I haven't started thinking about it, but then when parents or maybe relatives say about you need to start thinking, that's when I start thinking. Or else I'm not bothered about my future. I'm just really
Tandi, you are in the same boat as your children. You also get stressed with
Yes.
all that's happening around you. When your children are going for the exams, you're also in the same situation. So is there anything that you do to make that environment stress-free, to make sure that your children are also not bothered much about what's happening outside?
What my husband and I decided to do is we will not force them and talk to them, study. There are times we, just come to their room and start asking them, okay, how was the day and what games did you play? We kept talking on that, and maybe we discuss about movies, and maybe Friday we just as a family have some popcorns and all done and sit and watch and all. Actually, I just want to so I am a mother of 3, 3 pillarum, and 3 pillarum they are all 3 different level of studying. So as a parent, I had to be very careful. ആദ്യത്തെ കൊച്ചിനോട് പറയുന്നത് പോലെയല്ല സെക്കൻഡ് വൺ, അതുപോലെയല്ല തേർഡ് വൺ. സോ ആസ് പേരൻറ്റ് ഞങ്ങൾ വി ഹാവ് ടു ബി സെൻസിറ്റീവ്. ലൈക്ക് ടു ദ എൽഡർ വൺ, ഐ നോ ഹി വിൽ സിറ്റ് ആൻഡ് സ്റ്റഡി, ബട്ട് ഹി നീഡഡ് ദാറ്റ് മോട്ടിവേഷൻ. സെക്കൻഡ് വൺ ഹി സെയിങ് മമ്മ ഡോണ്ട് ടെൽ മീ, എന്നോട് പഠിക്കാൻ പറയണ്ട, ഡോണ്ട് ടെൽ മീ സ്റ്റഡി, മാർക്ക് കിട്ടുമ്പോൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കിയാൽ മതി. സോ അറ്റ് ദിസ് ഈവൻ ഇഫ് ഹി സേസ് ദാറ്റ് ഞാൻ സെൻസിറ്റീവ് ആയിരിക്കണം വാട്ട് ഹി ഈസ് ഡൂയിങ്. But I try not to put stress and not to say that marks are important. പക്ഷേ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട് അഡ്മിഷൻ ഒരു ഗുഡ് കോളേജിൽ കിട്ടണമെങ്കിൽ മാർക്സ് ഒരു പരിധി വരെ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആണെന്ന് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്.
So we'll do a rapid fire. I'll say a few questions, a few statements. If you've done that, just say. Be honest, okay? Please be honest.
Okay.
Okay. So, have you ever cheated in an exam?
I can't answer on camera.
It's okay, no one is watching.
No one is watching. Okay.
No one knows me.
Jason Uncle, have you cheated on this?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I have.
Even a small like Denmark question. Small test.
You
That's a
considered
big
even
mark.
one.
10 marks a big mark.
I mean, I haven't taken
Like
anything to an
surprise
exam
test.
hall or any other.
No, but have you cheated from your friend's paper?
Yeah, like for small test, unit tests or something.
No, I'm not.
Even cheating can be showing to others.
No. Oh, that's one thing, I never show others.
So, right now you have Zoom classes. Do you think there's a tendency to copy more than when you're having regular exams?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, to our next question, Pratha. I've never bunked a class, or I have bunked a class.
11th standard, yeah.
Who has
That's very specific. You have?
Yeah, like for cultural activities
No,
and all
I
that.
haven't
yeah,
bunked a
cultural
class.
activities.
Yeah, for cultural activities and stuff, we
Never
do bunk.
bunked.
I've never bunked a class.
Wow.
I failed classes. I've never bunked a class.
I have one class. In this instance, there are some teachers who would not. There's one particular teacher. He said, "You don't have to come to the class. We'll give you full attendance and all." And I think I hardly went to any of the classes. So I've done that also. The thing is, at the end, it is upon. It's up to us to be prepared for the exams and all that. But I have bunked many classes.
Not class, but exam.
You bunked an exam.
exam.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, that is at home, but I acted as if I'm sick and bunked.
Oh,
Have you ever faked an illness to get out of the school?
Meera auntie.
I did.
Nah.
Anyone else? No?
I like going to school.
I like getting full attendance. So.
Wow. Have you ever played a prank on your teacher? Any?
I couldn't make it.
Yeah.
No, I respect my teachers.
No.
Oh.
Cap.
Anyone else? No?
I was such a bad student. I got two teachers left the school because of me. That's how bad I was. Yeah. But never a prank.
Yeah, I'm scared of my teachers. I'm not going to.
What about you, sir?
I don't recall anything
Have you ever been pranked on?
Yeah.
by a student.
Yeah.
No, I don't recall anything.
Even if I recall, I'm not gonna say.
I mean, in spite of maybe repeatedly scolding them, or scolding in the sense, bringing them to their senses, and maybe even harshly sometimes. But I've always seen that the student always responded, respectfully. So it's surprising, but
This is not a regular group that we have together for a discussion. Usually we would say the teachers would be in one corner, parents would be in another corner, students will be in another corner, especially for parent-teacher meetings and all. It'd be like, okay, students are all in one corner, they're just seeing how everything's gonna pan out. But it was fun to have you all to hear from your perspectives, your thoughts. And I feel that there are a lot of similarities. There are a lot of differences as well, but there are a lot of similarities that we can take on. Is there anything that stood out to you from everything that we discussed before? Is there any takeaways that you have, any points that struck to you?
I think to be competitive with yourself was a good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Even I was going to say that.
For me, maybe as Jeff said about marks, because I said I made mistakes. From mistakes I learned. So maybe I have to be very conscious with my younger children also not to come up with that. Because I said, no, each child is different. We have to deal with them, knowing their psychology. We have to be careful with that.
And something that you're saying about effort, putting the effort. What is important is the effort that you put in. and it's not just the end result. If you're confident with the effort that you have put in, then obviously you'll be content with what you have done. And that, I think, that contentment is what gives you satisfaction. That is what makes you happy at the end of the day. Even if your marks come out bad, but you had given your full effort, I feel that you'll at least be happy with yourself, even if the world is not saying it.
Alright, so I thought the session was a real eye opener, and the things we discussed theoretically, though it may be true, but practically applying that is the challenge. So I hope that I can work towards doing that, and I hope that everyone watching here and all of you guys can also work towards that.
Okay, I would say, I got to listen to a lot of different perspectives, especially like parents and teachers, and I feel like I can
kind of relate with them.
Yeah, kind of relate with them.
So, do you think today you'll be able to maybe, not today, but then at least in the days ahead, if you wanna go and have a chat with your parents, although so said you're not comfortable, do you think you'll be able to do it? So now that you understood a parent's side a bit better, do you think you'll be able to talk to them about it?
Yeah, maybe in like a little bit more time. Yeah, but I will. Yeah.
Maybe you have to give your parents a chance to, good talk to them, ask them, so that you'll have that open forum.
Yeah. I feel that I have an elder sister and I have a younger brother. So my mom says this, and I have felt this also. My parents were a bit strict with my sister, but when it came down to me, they're a bit lenient. And with my brother, they're very lenient. But I always feel that after they've done this for some time, they will also start being free with you. And if you open up, if you go to them, if you open up with them, they'll also have that good, comfortable environment to talk to you about it and make you feel, okay, nothing's wrong, you're going in the right direction. And we're always here for you, whatever's happening. Thank you all for being honest. Thank you all for being a part of this conversation. I learned a lot from this because I feel that mostly all of it are things that we know, but then most of the time it's very hard for us to accept it and put it into practical music also. But it was great listening to all of you. If any of you listening to us are going through a tough time, or you're going through exams, you have stress, you have anxiety, go to our website, incubatum.com. There are a bunch of helplines, you can give them a call. Also, remember, you can do it. Thank you.
That's a wrap.
César,